Hey everybody, Eldred Bird here. I want to tell you guys a little bit about something that happened to me last week. I was at my weekly critique group, and one of the other people there was reading one of my books, and he paid me what I think is one of the biggest compliments I could get. He told me that as he is reading Catching Karma, the second James McCarthy adventure, that he brought up Google Maps and was following along with where Will and James were going, which I thought was fantastic. This was while they were heading off into into the foothills of the Bradshaw Mountains. He wanted to see how much of it was real and how much was actually made up when he saw the place names and things. And I think he was surprised to see that these were real places. One of the things that I like to do is to anchor my stories in real places because it kind of gives me a head start on world building for those who are local readers but I still have to have enough description for those people who are not local. And he's someone who is new to the area, so he didn't know these places. So the fact that he started to research them and to look, and the fact that he had that map up and was following the characters, I thought was fantastic, because what it means is I was able to interest him on a level that made him curious enough to do that, which means I'm reaching my reader. And that made me so happy. Now, what's not going to make him happy is when he gets to a certain point, he's going to find that details don't match anymore. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today, is just how far do you go with real world before you start to fictionalize. In this case, I know that Will and James are going to be heading into a dangerous situation. I did not want to lead readers into a dangerous situation should they decide to go out to where this is happening. Part of the thing is that this is a dangerous area in some ways. The Bradshaw Mountains are just completely covered with abandoned mine shafts, with cliffs, drop-offs, wild animals, snakes, what have you. So if someone knows the area a little bit, enough to know that those were real place names that I'm talking about, and then they want to go out there and find where things are taken care of, they're going to find that, yes, it's accurate to a point, but beyond that, it is fictionalized so that they don't end up someplace and I don't lead them into a dangerous situation. And it can be the same thing with, in the first book, when I give the location of Dugan's Pub. I found out later that there actually is an Irish bar right in that same general location. In fact, right in that same area, there are two of them. So that was pretty much happy coincidence. So I have people ask me if I patterned it after that bar, especially since from the outside, my descriptions are fairly close to the way things would be laid out for that. Now, when you get to the inside, people tell me, oh yeah, but you got the inside all wrong. Well, that's because it was fictionalized. I had no idea that this place was there when I built the bar in the book. I was trying to look at where is James's house located, which I kind of give a general idea of where it is, but I never really say exactly because I don't want people, again, going down the street, bugging, knocking on people's doors, saying, is this the place, So I figured, okay, if he's got this much walking time, he's going to make this distance, he wants to see these things, where is he going to end up? And that's how I chose the neighborhood for where Dugan's is going to be. And there actually is an Irish-themed bar there now. So it's been there forever, and I had no idea. I had not been to that bar. So I should have looked at Google Earth a little closer on that one. So, yeah, there are familiar locations. And what that does is it gives the books an anchor in reality. It gives them something that people can hold on to, something familiar. Because world building is a big deal, and the location of things happening in your story can be another character. Locations can be a character. And so Dugan's is a character. Not just the people, but the bar itself is a character. In the second book, the Bradshaw Mountains are a character. Towns can be a character. There are things going on now in the third book, and I will give you guys a little bit of a peek in that things happen in and around the area of Prescott, which is kind of north of Phoenix, up into higher elevations, for those of you who are not from Arizona. And it is kind of a typical small town, but it's a big small town. And there are a lot of things that go on up there. And while the town is not huge, it's a very large county. And so there's a lot to draw on up there as well. By having real places like that, I have an advantage over people who are sci-fi, fantasy type of authors, because they have to do their world building from scratch usually. Now, sometimes sci-fi is based in a real place, but in the future, so you do have to make the tweaks to those worlds, and you can't just assume that everybody has been to this place, even if it is a real place. So you do still have to build the picture enough for the people who have never been there. And I think that because of the feedback that I got last week, I've managed to do that. And like I said, that to me, that is a huge compliment, because it means that I was able to put things, to build a picture, a good enough picture that this reader was curious enough to go out there and try to complete the picture themselves. So location, location, location. What can I say? That is a super important thing in placing your stories. Some stories can take place anywhere, but you can, if you allow it, the location can become another character. It can, because the location can put stumbling blocks in your character's way. Not just, it can put those physical things, be it the weather, be it the terrain, be it the other things like the foothills of the Bradshaw Mountains north of Phoenix that are a main character in the second book, because there are a lot of things that happen there. There's a lot of terrain that they have to face. There's weather that they have to face. And there are a lot of unknowns. So I tried to paint that picture, and apparently I hit it. So remember that, guys. Location, location, location. Thanks for listening today.